So if you own the Sony ZV1, you know the stabilization coming out of this camera isn't perfect. So in this quick video, I'm going to show you a special way of getting super buttery smooth footage coming from the Sony ZV1, just like this. So you can see there in those shots, they are the before and afters. And I filmed all of those in Norwich and Cornwall with the Sony ZV1 with all of the stabilization turned off. So I'm going to show you how you can import your footage into Catcylst Browse and get your footage looking as stable as that. So let's jump into it. So the first thing I'd recommend you do before you start using Catcylst Browse is download all of your footage from the Sony ZV1 onto an external hard drive like this. This is the Samsung T5. I'll put a link in the description below. But once you've got all your footage on here, it's much easier to then bring it in and edit it on Catcylst Browse. Okay, so we've opened up Catcylst Browse. I've connected the hard drive, and you can see here I've got my Norwich and my Cornish shots here from the Sony ZV1. So first of all, how can you tell if you've got footage that you will be able to edit? Well, if we look here in the top right corner of each shot, you can see you've got a little movie icon and some little stabilization icon there. And that means you've got the gyro data available that you need so you can add the Catcylst Browse version of the stabilization. So let's just take this shot here. Let's go into that and let's just quickly play that back. Now you can see it's pretty wobbly. I did this on purpose. It's pretty wobbly. We're going down towards the beach. It looks pretty unusable. You know, if you put that in one of your YouTube videos or documentaries or whatever, you know, it wouldn't really be acceptable. So let's see what we can do in stabilization. Now, all you need to do is come down to the bottom here and click Stabilize. Catcylst Browse will now analyze that clip. And then if we take it back to the start and play this back, the shot on the left is the original, and the shot on the right, as you can see, looks so much smoother already. So that looks pretty good. Now, just a word of warning here, it will crop in very slightly, but you can adjust this here just by clicking manual, and then you can choose the amount of the cropping ratio. I wouldn't take it too far away from this line for, you know, the best version of the stabilization, but you can zoom out a little bit. You know, you can see there it's nearly cropping out the top of that tree. If you take it too far, you'll find the stabilization just won't work that well. So I'd take it a little bit up here to 90%. And if we play that back, you can see that still looks pretty good. It has added a little bit more of a wobble, but you know what? I'm pretty happy with that. I'm just gonna take it down 1% or 2. And then all you need to do is click Export. And then we're gonna export it to our stable Cornish folder. And then we're gonna hit Export. Now this will take a few minutes depending on the length of your footage. I've found for around about a minute clip, it will take around about 1.5 minutes on the 2020 MacBook Pro 13-inch. So let's take a look at the shots before and after. So that's pretty great. Let's take a look at another quick shot here while we're in Catcylst Browse. Let's maybe try this one where we're walking down the street in St Ives. I'm just going to click that and click Stabilize. And let's play these through. Just look how shaky the shot on the left is compared to the stabilized shot here on the right. Let's export that and see how that looks. So in terms of importing the footage, it's as simple as that, simply pressing that stabilize button and waiting for the magic to happen. But I came across a huge issue when I first started using this. The first few shots I did on day one, I took the camera out and walked around Norwich. And as you can see from this footage here, when it was stabilized, you can see that it looks more stable, but if you look closely at the edges of shop signs, people walking and people's hair, you can see that these little micro jitters appear. And really, for some shots you wouldn't notice it, but for a lot of them, it was really off-putting, and I don't think you could use this footage. So it got me really frustrated. I thought, this is pointless. You can't use this Catcylst Browse to improve your footage, and you'd be better off with shaky footage. And then I saw a video from our friend Jevon Doveys, who recommended, by the way, check out his channel if you haven't seen it, but he recommended changing your shutter speed up to as fast as you can allow. And we did that, and I changed the shutter speed to 300 when I went out for a walk in Cornwall, and that really did make a big difference. So what I'm going to show you here is just the quick shot again, one taken from the walk around in Norwich. And as you can see, this has loads of those micro jitters. Now, if we take a shot here from Cornwall, where you can see the shutter speed is around 300, and then we add the stabilization, it really makes a big difference. This looks super smooth, and it completely removes those micro jitters. Now, when you increase your shutter speed, you should be aware that your footage will look a little less cinematic. You know, the reason that you double your shutter speed to your frame rate is so that it matches that of the human eye. It's meant to feel much more natural. So when you increase the shutter speed, you actually remove a lot of that motion blur that you would naturally get in your footage. So you are removing that, so the footage doesn't look quite as good in my opinion. It's still great, and it definitely rescues some of your shots. But I would probably recommend using the in-body stabilization, even though this does look pretty great. So let's try and stabilize this shot here. Again, I think Catcylst Browse is going to do a pretty good job. But if we play this back, you can see here on the right-hand side, this is the new stabilized shot. As we start to walk forward, you will get some little micro movements, and that's just natural. That's just me walking down a hill towards the beach. But you can actually improve this shot even more if you add warp stabilization within Premiere. So let's export this, put this in Premiere, and show you how it looks original with Catcylst Browse and then with the warp stabilizer. So there we go. If you just have a Sony ZV1, you may not even need a gimbal if you use Catcylst Browse. Overall, I think it's a pretty good piece of software for really taking out those shakes when using your Sony ZV1. But as I've mentioned, it is a bit of a hassle because A, you have to turn all of your stabilization off, and then you have to try and fix it in post in Catcylst Browse. That takes some time, and secondly, you may not be able to rescue the footage, and you won't know until you try and edit it. So have a play around, let me know in the comment section below what you think of it. I'll be using it for some scenarios. I think for other situations, I'll be using the active in-body stabilization. But anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought of that in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video.